live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph.
Hello, everyone. It is October 7th, and we are here. It's Wednesday afternoon, and it is Connections 50 Plus Wednesday Alive. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and with me, as usual, in sparkling blue.
Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome, 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 all our Caribbean people. Yes, Terri-Ann, we are going in. This is the third quarter.
Yeah. Yep. We talked last week that it was the 30th of September, and we said we were starting the month. Today is the 7th of October, and what a 7 days it has been. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yes, we have been under some pressure.
Listen, let's start one. We recognize we got the lowest of lows and came up to the highest of highs because our dear friend and partner, Errol Fabian, faced some real pressure. And it's pressure very much like a lot of us are facing, but he faced the ultimate test of almost losing his house. But then boy, oh boy, it shows when you do good comes to you.
Yes.
And we got together and brought him out of that hell hole. Jennifer?
You know, Terri-Ann, the lesson there too. You have many lessons out of that situation. One, you start when you do good. Errol is known as really someone in the community who always helping beyond. And not, I mean, if I may say it, to me, not putting himself first, putting everybody else business first. And the lesson there for me is, especially 50 plus, our 50 plus followers and friends, there are sometimes in our lives you have to sit back and reflect and say, you know what? I can be, there's a saying, you run yourself ragged.
Jennifer?
And at the end, you just don't have the energy to do anything for you. We have to be careful. And Errol, I think that was a lesson. Sometimes you don't realize how far gone you are. And even you're talking about, even in your financial situation, you keep saying, it's going to work out. But at least thank God for Errol because of the amount of good he has done. And I see him as an icon in Trinidad and Tobago, that people came to his aid. And thank you, because we really, too, Connections 50 Plus did appeal, you know, for him for support. And we thank all of you also for coming forward and supporting and saving not just his house, but Gael, which you all are all watching, you know. So yeah, so that lesson in terms of we have to mind our business, and I say mind our business, yes, in terms of business, you know, to ensure that we are trying our best to keep our business going, but our personal self too, to take care and putting yourself first is not selfishness, Terri-Ann.
You know? It's not selfishness. And you know, you just said something. I remember two things. You know, you go, every one of us has gone somewhere.
Yes.
Even if it's a little hop, skip, and drop between the islands on Liat. And in the security briefing, they say, in case of a reduction in pressure, put your mask on first before trying to put on for others. And I will say, and I'm sure Errol would not mind us saying something like this, Because many of us are in the situation where we're probably in so deep and so desperately trying to tread water that we stop treading water and we decide to float. And we say, God, I'm going to stay afloat. I'm going to go where the oceans carry me, and have the faith that the oceans will carry me in a direction that is good for us. Thank God, Errol's currents took him into the hands of GoFundMe and his followers, and he has saved his home. A lot of us will think of our home as very precious, but you know, we said also that something else was saved, Gael. Gael is not just a television studio, a television station. Gael houses critical, priceless archives that chronicle, archive, and he is the custodian of Caribbean cultural history. Archives that TTT and other broadcasters don't have. And had that been lost, it was not, he could get another home, but that would have been a different kind of blow. And Jennifer, I think, you know, we had a discussion last week. We said, say yes if you're ready to take action. And we had a panel there that, oh, what a beautiful bunch of people talking serious stuff.
Yes.
And we got down to, and I want to make a parallel between the Gael archives and us. Because sometimes when we think of ourselves, we may think on a superficial level of, am I healthy? Am I alive? Am I here and present? But we are so much more than just our surface. What is the archive? What is the knowledge?
Yes.
What are the relationships that we have nurtured and continue to nurture, whether it's children, grandchildren, friends, relatives, work relations, community relations, you know, and the whole thing, we come back to that. We said last week, say yes if you're ready to take action. And we got to the point of how often we take what is ours and we give it away.
Yes.
Discussion, Jennifer?
And Terri-Ann, before I take you on that point you made, I want to make this statement too about faith. Having faith is great, but faith without action, listen to me, nothing. Both has to go together. You know?
And demonstrated by your actions. Your faith is demonstrated by your actions.
So I wanted to start my response with that. The other thing you mentioned, and using that analogy with the wave, and you know, is that all that we have, you gather, all that you do, the archives, all that forms your legacy, you know. And legacy is worth, you know, sometimes you think legacy and immediately you think just cash in hand, just valuables. But what you just described is your valuables, you know.
Your worth, yeah.
That is your worth, that is your legacy. So you have to be, you should be very conscious of your worth. Because you are giving out. So you know, when you look at in Gael's situation, if Errol has lost all that, the archives, that come like his legacy, that's his worth. You know, it's like if you giving away.
House, he will get another place to
yes. You can't, and that is one of the most valuable assets.
Priceless.
Yeah. So just looking and aligning both, we have to be aware what is really your worth. And we're not chatting about cash in bank and how much jewelry you have and all that.
No.
We're going within, and you said it, you go within to find out what is your worth.
What's your archives?
And then we look at taking action now. Based on that, you then look at taking action.
Yeah, because I mean, and then, okay, yesterday, Trinidad Minister of Finance read the budget. Very, very, and I mean, this is I think it is a budget that the Caribbean was paying attention to because of Trinidad's role. Guyana is going to soon become the dominant financial force, but we are so linked. Our economy is so linked to the Caribbean. We are coming out of COVID. We are facing low oil prices. More critically, we're facing low gas prices. We're facing low gas production. We're facing, there are 10 plants in the Point Lisa state that are in shutdown because of reduced demand throughout the year. So this budget is being read and everybody is looking at this budget for a lifeboat. You know, and we were talking before, Jennifer, and we made the point that what I think people don't realize is a saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. And we have been the beneficiaries of a rising tide. Yes, many people have worked to row their boats in that rising tide, but everybody benefited in the rising tide. And if all ships are lifted in a rising tide, when the tide recedes and going down, if you don't row and get back to deep water and that tide goes out, you know you stuck in the mud,
right?
Shipwrecked. And what our discussion last week talked about, that say yes if you're ready to take action. And what came home to me listening to our budget presentation yesterday, and I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, but I can't say it nice. Our cohort 50 plus was completely
left out.
You know, normally there will be a nod to the seniors, there'll be a nod. It was the first time you sit there and in this all-important budget, not a mention, not a nod.
You know, Terri-Ann, I'm wondering, we spoke about it very early this morning because we immediately recognized it. From the time we say, what do you think about the budget? Both of us say, nothing in it for the 50 plus. Is it because this is our cohort? We are actually working with people 50 plus. But I wonder how many 50 plus people out there recognize that. I did read this morning, someone did mention, I guess someone who within that deals with people at that age group did mention that there was nothing for 50 plus. So for those who didn't, especially, of course, we are speaking about the Trinidad and Tobagonians, Trinbagonians.
Caribbean,
the Caribbean, when your neighbor's house on fire, wet yours. This is an example of that. Because for those who did not listen or it did not hit home to them, we are telling you, listen, there's nothing in that budget was for 50 plus. So guess what? We are telling you, you have to take action. And this is what we are all about in today's program. We continuing from last week. What it reinforced for us is what we started last week, last Wednesday. We had to continue the discussion today because that budget said, hey, if you don't take action now, then what happens? You stay on the sand, Terri-Ann?
Going down.
And as the water come in, you sink and you keep sinking. Hey.
And if you don't begin rowing your boat to get out, to at least be in a where you can stay afloat, that tide is going to go out. You're going to get stuck in the mud. You don't know how long you're going to be there. And when the water comes back in, you may be so deep in that mud that you'll just be overwhelmed. And I think what we have been talking about with Connections 50 Plus, when we promote our reset programs and we promote all of our programs, and you can go on our website and look at our brochures, it is, we have to, and the budget showed it, there was no program, no planning, they think about young people. They thought about new technologies. They selling all the
You know, when they speak about new technology, that's why they rule us out. Huh?
they selling
Definitely.
they remove all the subsidies. And you know, Jennifer, a lot of reasons that we of our cohort would feel that we can't just float with wherever the tide is. The tide rises, we go up. The tide it won't go out and leave us stuck in the mud. But I think this time we will become stuck in the mud. So, you know, we are rowing out and we are very afraid of, well, we're not conscious that we could get shipwrecked in that mud. But, you know, Jen, we were talking about something this morning about our mindset. And we always say we start with our mindset. For many of us, we may think that we are secured from the ravages of what is going on. All right. Nobody mentioned us in the budget. That's okay. This tide is going up. It's coming down. It will go up again. Doesn't bother us. But I think what we don't realize is that we are not independent of what is happening in the world around us. When inflation hits, okay, because the price of gas goes where it has to go, because people's output, just manufacturing output is lower and they have to raise prices to maintain their staffs and everything like that. Just when inflation hits and when life gets generally tougher, when because foreign exchange is rationed, people have to charge more for the little bit that comes in. Our happy, cushy lives that we thought the pension and the children and the grandchildren would sustain forever is going to get as shaken as everyone who hits that bottom when the tide goes out suddenly from under them. So all of us, it doesn't matter what our circumstances, whether we are in a job and we are questioning the future, whether we are retired and living happily on pension, whether we are like some of our people last week, you know, finding yourself, all of us as this tide is dropping, have to start rowing. We have to take action differently to make sure that either one, we shore up the resources, whether it is income, and the point you just made, we have to protect the archives. So what are we doing about our lives, our legacy, our memory? What are we doing with our families, with our children to ensure that things are in place? You know, I listened to that budget and I became very worried, you know, and just a point I would make, a friend called me this morning to talk about it. And she made a point that was so significant. You know, she said, you entered COVID energized because she had a plan set. And she, in fact, was a client. You had a plan set, you know what you were going to do. COVID just shut everything down. And now she has a creeping fear that she's going to leave COVID an old abandoned woman. Yeah. Isn't that? And we have to take action because we don't have to leave COVID a wreck.
Totally. And Terri-Ann, we talk about mindset and the different groups. Defining mindset will vary. So for instance, you have those of us who, and I'm saying us, those of you who think that you are in a very comfortable position. You have somebody rowing that boat for you. It's settled. You don't have that problem.
Or you think engine and
yes. So everything is okay, and that for those, you know, your mortgage is paid off. If you rent out the house, you may be there with your spouse or companion or even alone, but those circumstances, you are enjoying the best of life. And congrats, nothing is wrong with that. But listen.
Jennifer, the stock portfolio.
Yes, so you have all those things. And Terri-Ann, you know, with our clients, and we go through that because we do have clients in those positions. And just, you know, they may think, I just come in to make sure everything all right, but I don't need help. But let me tell you the things that crop up. One, and the pandemic, the COVID, has really opened our eyes to a lot of things, a lot of circumstances, and you know, situations that you didn't think about before. For instance, one, and let me start with something else with your mindset. You can put blocks up within your mind, block all the things because you want to continue living that lifestyle. You have an image to protect, you know, so you don't want to face the reality of situations. But the reality could hit you in so many ways. And those who are in a financially good situation or position, listen to me. And you mentioned the stocks and the bonds, because when you have that portfolio mix, you're sitting, as you say, you're sitting pretty. But with the market, what is happening out there in the market, if you face reality and you go to find out what's the value of your current portfolio, you would be maybe shocked. You have to face reality, and it makes you think, well, oh wow. Because if in an emergency you need to cash in, there's no such thing as cashing in, because you may find you at a minus. This may sound, but it's real. You know, you have, even in terms of your home. You remember the time, not at a time, very recently, prices just skyrocketed. You may have paid around 300,000, 400,000 about 20 years ago, and it valued at about 5 million, 4 million. It was only millions you were thinking of. And then now in today's world, it's no longer that. So you are looking at how much equity you really have in your home. The assets that you thought that were solid. So the mindset, what you need to do, and this is just, you know, me being very concerned, because we do have clients in that situation, that the action to start fixing your mindset first is do a reality check. Really look at where you are. The other aspect, and I'm really addressing here those people who comfortable or believe they're so comfortable that the budget wouldn't affect them, or they what is happening, as long they keep themselves healthy, safe with their mask, as you mentioned, and they put on that protection, that nothing going to happen. So these are the ones that I'm addressing right now. So you may be getting a very good package, or we may have gotten a very good package from your company. But a lot of these benefits, a lot of our retirement benefits, is not pegged with inflation or anything, Terri-Ann. So those who have retired a couple of years ago, and at that time their retirement income maybe even crossing 10, those who were really in high positions. When you work out inflation to today's cost of living, and in the last couple months, I should say, since we have COVID.
After the budget, yes.
Listen to me. You need twice time that amount, you know? So I'm sharing this, so you can't afford to be too comfortable. You can't let yourself, you know, sit back, you know, in that nice boat and say, hey, you're moving side to side, you're good. So taking action for those who may seem that they're not being touched in any way. Let me tell you, you don't want that if you don't do anything about it, that's shocker. Yeah. Now we still have those, Terri-Ann, who maybe just in the early 50s, haven't reached retirement yet, still in the workplace. Thank God they have a job, but still very nervous because there is when you say no more, very few companies recruiting or promoting or adding on to salaries. It's the reverse in many ways.
The state has frozen employment. The state was the biggest participant.
And the private companies had started before that. Well, with the state showing their hands, wow, that gave them an excuse. If the state can do that, we can do it also. So even those who still luckily have their jobs, they are the ones who have to, I mean, Terri-Ann, to me, they are in such a critical situation. Because in many cases, some not sure about what their retirement package will look like. Some may not have a choice, because when the companies call you in on that day and say, listen, this is your last day, and this is what we are giving you, you don't have much of a choice.
Jennifer, we had Garland last week saying at 53, she was very focused on trying to make sure in her next 7 years of employment that her mortgage was paid off, all right? And she was only then starting to look into her archives and see the value of herself and discovering herself. Not a lot of us have that ability, and you may look to see, can I do something parallel? But when you, now the workplace is demanding more of you, you don't have the ability to do that little side hustle or start up something else as we would have before, you know?
Yeah.
So it would be crazy. And then we had, like Kathleen mentioning, that she is retired, but she spent so much time being a doer that now she's retired.
Yes.
She doesn't know what to do with nothing to do.
You sit down and you feel very stuck. Those who say, some may say, okay, those who fortunate, to have grandchildren may say, okay, I can, that is how I will occupy my time. But guess what? You know, that's when you want to volunteer, when you have time. But now with the COVID, with all these children home, I'm not sure if they want to have them full time to take care of. And as we on family,
they have to supervise that online school.
Yeah, you understand? But talking about family too, Terri-Ann, and this is a reality. It is happening a lot. You're reading overseas, and I know it is happening in Trinidad also. You know, we many of us, you know, happy that we are alone, that the children has moved out, etc. But Terri-Ann, because of situations, they are moving back in. Because you have those who may have been married, bought a home, or doing well renting, but because of loss of job, maybe for them, their spouse, their partner, whoever, they can no longer afford to keep up that rent, even the mortgage in some cases they have to give up. And they're returning home. And you know, we're not turning our backs against them. Those who are in my age group, a little older than Terri-Ann, you know? That where we think we could sit back and enjoy our little retirement and all that, which is nothing was wrong with that. But the reality, today's reality, and after this budget, we have to be ready to give that support and be careful how we doing it. You know, a client mentioned to me in her situation, she volunteered, Terri-Ann, to help with your mortgage because of course she don't want her son, you know, to lose their house. That is commendable. But then I asked her, can you afford to keep that up? And she said yes. When she worked it out with the retirement income, she lived in small, etc. But listen to me, you know, that eroding your funds. I'm not saying don't do it, but we have to be very careful. She was in a position, or she is in a position to help. Think of those who can't and they have to come back home. It is really an impact on your utility bills, your food bill, your space, your everything. So Terri-Ann, this is a time for everyone, but we are dealing with the 50 plus. So the 50 plus who they didn't cater for us in the budget. Just, listen to me. this is, you can no longer sit back and say it would not affect you. You pray, of course, that's where the faith comes in. You're praying that it wouldn't impact on you that badly, but you have to take action.
Jennifer, I think it is even more stressful. You see, where we have spent a couple of years in retirement and we were good, the
Yes.
went and we got a new level of freedom and we got a new level of financial ease.
Yes,
Now,
I love that. Financial ease.
Generations, the children and their children, and they come in your space, and all of that financial ease disappears, and you have to then now sacrifice all of your plans to maintain their ease. And I personally think that is wrong.
Yeah, but on our culture, we're not letting our children suffer.
Because Jennifer,
that's the first thing, and that's what we talk about mindset. The mindset immediately is, I can't allow that. The shame, what people will say.
No, and I think it's because a lot of us spoil them and they don't know how to sacrifice. I don't say something. They don't know how to sacrifice. I remember reading in a business magazine, and I don't know if I would have shared this with you. They talked about that your children's generation moving back in and how to decide how you will help. Listen, decide, just like when you were their age, you'll decide what money do I have to splurge.
Yes.
Decide what you could afford to give. Make decisions about how far you will go to compromise your life and your comfort. And let them know, if you need $50,000, I have 10 I could give you. Here, what are you going to do to try and find the other 40?
Yeah, they need to be accountable. Definitely.
You have to build accountability into, because we could come back and your name is mommy and your name is daddy, and oh God, look the grand. Look the grand. I mean, I have no grand and I see you all
darling,
All I have to do is present Zane and
but I'm very controlled when it comes into the spending.
And the retirement fund going through.
I understand that clearly. Not my,
But that is something in this taking action.
Yes.
Very often, it is not only for ourselves that we need to take action to supplement, but we may need to take action to ensure that people who are dependent on us, or who become dependent on us again,
yes,
take action to not cause us to sink. We may have to help them along in productive ways. Robert Lehan said last week, watch debt. And debt is not always with a bank.
Yes.
Incur debt with family by giving forward resources that you hope will come back. It never does. And then you left holding the bad end of the stick. Always make sure a debt is productive.
It come like when you invest in it, they tell you, only invest the amount you could afford to lose. Exactly. so they're using that same concept or advice with family. Only lend the amount you could afford to do without.
No matter how the grandchildren come by.
Because you're not sure if it's going to come back.
Exactly. And the thing about it.
And it's interest free, yeah?
And the thing is, in today's life, and this is why I think we can get some strength in the back to make the decisions we have to make. Their distress is for a while. Whether it is 5 years, they have to move in the house and live with you. Yeah. But this is going to turn around and they are going to go back on their own and start over. And when they start over, they will not be in a position to help you. But guess whose resources would have been depleted in the 5 years, yes, and who is now left to continue into old age with little or nothing?
So Terri-Ann, for me, what I would suggest, and I'm suggesting what I have done and what I continue to do, is having, you get your dependents together. And we spoke about that many times when we talk about our financial planning, when we talk entrepreneurship, we speak about the stakeholders.
Difficult conversations.
Yes, yeah, we did that. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Come together and be real. You know, and I have had the experience with clients who don't let your children know what they have. You're keeping it a secret. They don't even let them know if they own the house they're living in or not until an emergency. And then you hear, oh, I thought mommy and they owned the house. Oh, I didn't know they were in so much debt, etc., etc. So the conversations, those difficult conversations, you have to be honest with each other.
Yeah.
Really share what is out there. How do you want me to help, or how can I help? But to do that, in these circumstances, you have to be real. The other, what just came to me too, you see, knowledge of the financial market or what is happening now is key, because many times decisions are made with not being aware of what is happening out there. Simple things, that the bank still giving money or not giving any money, no loans. What is the credit union doing? How is the budget really affected? You look down the road, you project. You have to do some projections. So within that meeting, you cannot just go not knowing what is happening around you. You know, we speak about, and those who listen to us last week when we spoke about certain measures,
Yeah.
that you in taking action, and that's what we are there for, to help guide. It is also giving you information about what is happening out there with the financial market, with the investments, what you could do. I mean, Terri-Ann, a whole process we do on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you get you are more informed,
yeah,
when you're going to go back and make those decisions, because making decisions and not having that knowledge
mm-hmm.
could send you down the wrong road.
And let me say something, and let me put a little pitch in here for people, because we promote two major programs. We promote our reset and we promote our essentials toolbox, which we'll be doing again in the near future. But a very, very critical part of the roles that we play is that individual coaching, where in a 3-hour session, whether it is a life reset, whether it is to talk about what is my financial baseline, whether it is, I just have an idea about something I need to do and I just need to clear it up. You can book sessions with us and we can just talk it through.
Yeah.
Because we have to, like the minister said, after he had this is where I got the real, all right, done with all your people over 50. He went into the current environment and the current crisis. And I so identify with that, with the children coming back home and they can't pay the mortgage, and you have to rearrange the house for them to come back in to live, and you have to cater for increased grocery bills and so on. And after all that chaos, he went on to, all right, so for the medium term framework now, what is good to, so he is saying to us, this short term period, this 2 to 3 years in front of us of their 5-year term is going to be pure hell. But in the medium term, in the 3rd, 4th year, 4th, 5th year, there's going to be some kind of sunrise. As I said before, and I will repeat again, when we are looking at the current situation and preparing, remember, we are going to be around at 80, 85, 90, 95. Okay? This is a 2 or 3 year intermission where chaos is reigning and everybody is coming back in. Yeah. They are going to leave to continue their productive lives on their 2nd act stage. You have to continue on the 3rd act stage, so you cannot take up all your resources. Don't take care of your archives. Don't take care of your body. So when that time comes, what are you going to do? What do you have to continue moving on with? What do you have? And sometimes, Jennifer, I'm amazed. I look at you working with clients and people just don't know what they have.
They don't know what they have. They don't know their skill. You know, I blame it on I keep saying culture, but our upbringing and those who within the 50 plus, 60 plus. Like from the time you cross 50 or you retire, it's like you're different. When I say different person, they're not, you either stay on, like I said, the second stage, stuck feeling that you're still there and you can do things. And then you realize one day you can't run as fast, or you can't do certain things as you did before, and that somehow you now have to live on less. Like reality don't hit you at all until a disaster happens. So we need to understand or believe in ourselves, believe that we are still resourceful. Let me put it that way.
Jennifer,
We could be still very resourceful.
Nobody told them about the third act stage. They told the second.
That's true.
And
the third act stage from my mom and day, what we saw, what we now call in the third act stage, which will really be the 60 plus. The 50 you still feel you have energy. You reach the 60 plus. It was a stage where you do nothing, Terri-Ann. Yes. Was a stage where you home and you stay home. You understand? You really see about grants, great grants. You just giving of yourself somehow at that stage. Was a stage where you just have to give of yourself and sit back.
Prepare to meet Lord.
Yes. So you're not taking care of your health. You don't care how you look, and you accept the fact that you're supposed to be ill. You're supposed to have the aches and pain, etc. But time has changed, and I agree. We won't prepare for this type of third act, this active third act, this third act where we have to take care of ourselves, where we can no longer depend. And I recall in my time when we started to work, my dad, his comment was, when I get old, you all have to take care of me. You all have to make sure by that time we have no mortgage or anything, and it is time for him to rock back. And he said it, you go in your rocking chair, you rock back, and the children will take care of me. And Terri-Ann, my mom is 98, and yes, we are taking care of her, but guess what? It's plenty of us. Remember, we're not in that situation. I have two who have to take care of themselves and their families. I cannot rock back. I cannot sit back. That's why I'm still working. That's why I'm still here offering my service. I am not in a position to rock back. Actually, I don't want to also. Because I want to remain active and healthy and really live a rich life.
One of the panelists on the post-budget debates last night made that point. They said, our grandparents would have been one of 9, 10 children.
Yes.
Parents would have been one of 4, 5 children. We are probably one of 3, 4. And when we look at our children,
and then one.
He was talking about the funding of NIS. And the point you're making is true. Our parents would have said, you have to take care of me. But we know we cannot look at our children straight in the eye and say, you had to take care of me. Yeah. We know we have to take care of, because we are seeing the struggles that they have to take care of themselves. And we know that we will probably have to be helping them to take care of themselves and their children into their 40s, into their 50s if we're still alive. But because we have to also take care of us, and Jennifer, a lot of us still have our parents alive who we have to take care of.
And my mom 98.
And she going strong.
Going strong, definitely.
Don't check ourselves and pull aside and say, okay, what do I need to put aside to take care of me when this storm is finished? we are going to be left stuck in the mud like those ships that did, those rowboats that didn't get out into the deep when the tide was dropping, with nobody. Parents can't help you, and the children easy trying to stay afloat. We have to think of what am I going to do with myself, and have the resources to take care of me, because the government announced, no, we're done with that.
Take care of yourself. Terri-Ann, you know, we have left, and those who, some still on, or most of us who have left that second act stage, have left that stage with so much experience, so much skills, so much talents. You know that, Terri-Ann. I mean, we have so much to offer. Yes, many of us may choose that we're not, as they say, going out there to hustle. You do not need to go out to hustle. It can come in so many ways. We can use our skills, our experiences from from the workplace, and help even with our children. I do it. So I would talk to my daughters in terms of what can you do to earn that extra income, and how can I help? I may not be able to do the manual labor, the getting up any early out there, but in discussion, in helping them to design, or showing them what or who they can go to for the knowledge, etc. And that will make a difference, because when they're self-sufficient, we okay.
Let me put it in business terms. We can be the chairman of the board for the children.
Great. And Terri-Ann, we are for ours. Yes.
I'm telling you, I have already said to my children, you start, what are the assets that you have? You
yes.
have a vehicle, you have access to monetize the thing. So you be your own private Uber for your friends. You make extra money. Don't come asking us for every single thing.
Yes.
Earning yesterday, my son was listening to the budget. He said, what did they say in that budget? Because he just decided he's a millennial.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. You know, the government have nothing for them. He said, so you mean they freeze employment?
They did leave out the millennials also.
So where we going after? Say, remember, tell you how to create a job. He look left, he look right. And he say, okay, after an hour, he come back. He say anything else? But we have to really, we can't have the attitudes that we were brought up with, and that is a big switch.
Yes, yes.
The automatic response that we would have, which is to take care of everybody, because we're sure they're going to pay it forward in return.
Right, but no, not again. And Terri-Ann, there are so many things, but the mindset, we started off saying you have to change that mindset, knowing, think healthy. Stop thinking like you're too old.
Yes, Jennifer. So we really have to think about this. This is your saying yes to taking action.
Yes.
We can't end up stuck in the mud because the tide is going down. And we can't let our children use up all of our resources, because it's going to be for a short time and they will move on, you know? So yes, we have
Terri-Ann, I know it will be a difficult decision for many of the 50 pluser, because as we said before, they're changing the mindset, a complete change in mindset, and fear that, you know, your children love you, looking up to you, and then if, you know, they talk about tough love.
Yeah.
You know, so we are aware of that. We are aware it will be difficult. And
we are here.
Yes.
So we had 10 gems last week that out of the discussion, and I think it bears repeating now, especially since the budget, and we know we got the road at both. We got the road at both. Tide is going down. We can't
not let the sand cover us over.
So Jennifer, the first one was understanding that we are where we are supposed to be right now. We're not supposed to be anywhere else. So there's no regret. What do you say about that?
Well, how I look at it, we're supposed to be on the third stage and not the second stage. And many of us feel, we start to feel uncomfortable
Yes.
that we're going to be too old or etc. So be comfortable with where you are. You are on the third stage. Enjoy it.
And we have to create this set.
Yes.
Wonderful. Our second point, learn new technology.
Yes. That, Terri-Ann, only recently a friend tell me, Jennifer, why you all don't teach technology on your shows? That's not for us. Get real. This is what happening if you don't do anything, if you don't learn. And there's so many YouTube. I mean, there's so many different programs teaching you technology from, what do you say, ABC.
Yes. And Jennifer, the thing is, if we understand the true meaning of technology, technology really is how you do something.
Yes.
So it may not be technology meaning computers, It may just learn to do things differently.
Yes, and because of the time we're in, I definitely included the computer, the phone, all technology.
Digital.
All digital. Yes.
Said MiFi. I had to go and check it. It's a hotspot, your personal hotspot. And the third, reinvent yourself by identifying your skills.
Oh, we know about that, Terri-Ann, and that's why we do the entrepreneurship. We do the assessments so people will understand where they are, identify their skills, and learn to monetize. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And in addition to knowing yourself, fifth, know your story and history, because your value comes from there.
Yes, we spoke about legacy. We spoke about what within. Know yourself. And Terri-Ann, you see, knowing that history, we tend to ignore that. And I am going a different place here in terms of there are some family history skills that handed down that we are not aware of. So if you know your family history, you may find, I'm a good baker, I like to bake. But when you track back, your grandparents, your parents, they were fantastic bakers.
Jennifer, we had the experience of a client who he got into his history. I mean, he was always into dabbling all kinds of things. But when he delved into his history, his grandfather was the master entrepreneur in the town.
I remember that. So you see, going back in your archives, that so that's important.
And the next one, don't give away your value and your skills and your identity. Don't give it away.
Terri-Ann, we like to do things for free, especially our 50 plus. We are ashamed to tell people, this is what it costs. I am putting out my time, my skill, and we don't value ourselves. We don't value our skills. So you'll say, the person may ask you, how much? And I say, no, that's all right, man. We good. But no, you need to understand, and even if you have to reach a stage where you're bartering, but definitely it is not to say take it for free. Because anytime now you really want to monetize that skill, it will be difficult for you to know what to charge. And pricing is another area that people are very weak in when you do your entrepreneurship.
And the next one is linked to the first. Don't feel guilty about charging. So it's not only don't give it away, but don't feel guilty about charging.
Yes.
People feel that, oh gosh, they helped me so much. I can't charge. Oh, I know this one. I can't charge.
But Terri-Ann, let me tell you what has hurt them. When they pay somebody else to do that same thing you did for them free, and you find out how much they paid, and it wasn't even done in the same way, then you understand.
So I tell you, so I think it's a blessing in disguise that the government really didn't take on the 50 plus in the budget, you know, because
We can do it.
see, this is not a robot we're going out and it have an engine. So pull your engine cord.
Yes.
Pull the engine cord. So number 8, we talked about this before, eliminate debt. Make sure debt is productive.
At this stage, you have to be debt free. We are not saying some people you could carry certain loans, but you have to be very conscious of that. You have to understand interest rates. You need to understand penalties. You need to know that sometimes you leave it alone until you could afford.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go and extend yourself just to prove a point or to show the neighbor that you can have something just as good, etc. At this stage, at 50 plus, definitely eliminate it or reduce it completely.
So make sure it's productive. Like
Yes, it could be. Definitely.
Like when you take the credit card and went to St. Lucia last year, you well enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and at the end, nothing is wrong with that. But you have to know where the money came from. And how long again you have to pay, because you don't want to do that and then the rest of your life you're paying you're paying for it.
And Jennifer, is it reasonable to say, if you have debt, let it be your debt, as opposed to get into debt for other generations?
Definitely. And it talked that just recently, Terri-Ann, and I'm just sharing my business here. I needed a new washer dryer, and I thought, you see me, I'm not taking the cash. I need that cash there. And did take a loan, but I was very conscious of the time frame, interest, etc. But I wasn't going to do that to say I'm doing that for a friend or family member. No, because you're not sure. Sometimes we take that responsibility and so we can qualify for the loan. So I will help you out. Or we even stand as guarantor for the loan. And at the end of the day, we end up paying every cent because they can't afford to do it.
Get you, girl.
Yeah.
Next thing, and I know this one, Jennifer, you talk about that, the importance of mindset. It must be positive and be execution oriented.
Definitely. And we spoke, Terri-Ann, you cannot reach anywhere if you're not positive.
Mm-hmm.
You can set all the goals, but if from the beginning you say, I want to be debt free, and you just said it, but you continue with your spending habits and you continue just being free with money, and you know that things, not as good as it used to be, then you're not going to get anywhere. You have to start thinking, yes, I can do it. Set a plan, all the things they say with goal, make sure it's measurable, etc., etc. But it all comes with you knowing, actually seeing the end result. And that, yes, definitely.
And our number 10, which is tapping into our experience from the second act that we're going to use in the third act. Live life positively and trust your instincts.
Yes, Terri-Ann, definitely. I grew up hearing that, go with your instinct, go with your instinct. So for me, I know that. I make decisions based on that. But many times I hear people say, no, you can't do that. Don't trust your gut, because it wouldn't work. And they want to actually see proof of whatever it is before they make that decision. But when you say trust your instinct, it's really it's based on your experience, your knowledge and experience. And you have to trust that you are in a place, especially really looking at 50 plus. We have had that experience. We had the knowledge, the skills. We are more aware. So we can definitely trust ourselves when we make a decision and go with it.
Yes.
Don't go, say go halfway. No, you make that decision and you go with it. And you have faith. Yeah.
So Jennifer, listen, last week we said yes to time for action. And we got examples during the week that says to the 50 plus cohort, act in faith, go forward. We saw Errol go there and come back, and he is positioned to go forward even better with our support, and he still needs to be guarded because, Jennifer, the eyes. Who will figure he have this and he have that and he could do the world for everybody, you know?
But when you start thinking of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it is so important, Terri-Ann, it is not, you are not too old to set goals. This is your life. You know, some people say, and listen, Terri-Ann, we must say this, and I must say it. You don't have to have money to plan.
We know that.
Over and over, what that have to do? You don't have to have money to plan. You don't have to have money to leave a legacy.
Yes.
It don't have to be a financial legacy.
No, it could be a legacy of hard work, production,
yes,
honor, integrity, honesty. Yes.
And when you know that, your life changes. You act differently. It helps drives your plan. And Terri-Ann, before we close, I must say, we have our reset program, which would help 50 plus. I am telling you, we have shown so many clips.
So just to make it clear what the reset is.
Sure.
Reset really helps you to figure out where you are and develops a path to get to where you need to be. It is that engine. We're going to do assessments. You're going to assess you to see where you are. It's a psychometric assessment. And then we do another assessment that gives a sense. You know, there are two things about money. You could have money and manage your money, which is financial.
Yes.
And Jennifer does that very well. But there is also how you deal with money that you earn. And that affects your entrepreneurship, what you do with money. And our assessment helps you to figure out where you are with those things. And you get 3 hours working with Jennifer and I to really get your plan moving forward. So when we help you to reset, we help you to reset.
And Terri-Ann, you know that 3 by 2, eh?
Yeah, 3 with each of us.
Just now it's 3 by 2. It's not just 3, it's 6. Right? And after this budget, Terri-Ann, and for whether you live in Trinidad and Tobago or in the Caribbean, you need to look at this program to really help you move forward at this time.
Definitely. Jennifer, our time is up. And I mean, I can only say 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when we were having a ball on the second act stage, no one really thought of the third act. And we thought the second act was the end. But thank you, Jane Fonda, who revealed that to us. I don't know if she invented it. I don't think she did. There's a third act stage, and we are here to help you get there. You have archives. You have value. Let's have a fantastic life.
Yes, please give us a call. You know, our numbers are here. Just a chat. If you still feel stuck and a little scared to move forward.
If you want to talk to me, 682-9202. Of course, 868 is in front of it. The number.
Right. And I'm 685-8834. All on WhatsApp.
Yes. All right.
So just chat. Don't be afraid, because let me tell you, I'm telling you, you would need a hand. Someone to hold your hand around and say, listen, hey, we're going to make it.
Yes. So until next week, when we really build to take action.
All right. So we say bye for now.
Okay. Take care.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from TNT and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus Wednesday Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like and share our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.